Greeting from MythBearCo. Please enjoy our story vodcast. Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush meadows, there lived a young boy named Jack. Jack was known far and wide for his adventurous spirit and boundless curiosity, but despite his wanderlust, he often found himself yearning for something more, a grand adventure that would whisk him away from the monotony of village life and into the realm of legend and myth. One day, as Jack roamed the countryside in search of excitement, he stumbled upon a peculiar sight, a market stall adorned with all manner of oddities and curiosities. Intrigued, Jack approached the stall, where an old peddler sat amidst a treasure trove of wares, his eyes twinkling with mischief and magic. "Welcome, young lad," the peddler crooned, his voice like honey in moonlight. "Care to peruse my wares? I've got trinkets and treasures aplenty, each with a tale to tell." Jack's eyes widened with wonder as he surveyed the array of enchanted objects before him, a crystal ball that glowed with an otherworldly light, a cloak woven from threads of moonbeams, and a tiny music box that played melodies from distant lands. But it was a humble bag of beans that caught Jack's attention, a bag of beans unlike any he had ever seen, their colors shimmering like precious gemstones in the sunlight. "Ah, those are no ordinary beans, young Jack," the peddler said, his voice taking on a mysterious tone. "Those are magic beans, imbued with the power to grant your deepest desires. Plant them under the light of the full moon, and watch as they grow into a beanstalk that reaches the very heavens themselves." Jack's heart raced with excitement at the prospect of such an adventure, and without hesitation, he traded a handful of coins for the bag of magic beans, his mind already racing with visions of towering beanstalks and hidden treasures. That night, as the full moon cast its silver glow upon the earth, Jack crept out into the garden behind his cottage, the bag of magic beans clutched tightly in his hand. With trembling fingers, he planted the beans in the soft earth, whispering a silent prayer to the stars above. And as Jack watched in awe, a miracle unfolded before his eyes. The beans sprouted from the ground, their tendrils reaching ever higher into the night sky until they disappeared from sight, leaving behind only a swirling vortex of magic and mystery. With a heart full of excitement and anticipation, Jack began his ascent, his hands gripping the sturdy vines as he climbed higher and higher into the heavens. The air grew thinner, and the stars seemed to draw closer, their light guiding Jack ever onward as he ascended into the unknown. At last, after what seemed like an eternity, Jack emerged into a realm unlike any he had ever seen, a land of clouds and mist, where floating islands drifted lazily amidst a sea of sky. But Jack's awe was short-lived, for before him stood a towering castle, its spires reaching for the heavens themselves. And guarding the entrance to the castle was a fearsome giant, his eyes blazing with fury as he beheld the intruder who dared to trespass upon his domain. "Who dares to disturb the peace of the sky?" the giant bellowed, his voice like thunder rumbling through the clouds. "I am Jack, a humble adventurer in search of adventure and fortune," Jack replied, his voice steady despite the fear that gnawed at his heart. "I come in peace, seeking only to explore this wondrous realm." The giant regarded Jack with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion, his gaze lingering on the bag of magic beans that hung from Jack's belt. "Magic beans, you say?" the giant mused, his voice growing softer as he reached out to examine the beans. "I had nearly forgotten the taste of magic, so long have I been imprisoned in this lonely castle." And with a sudden burst of laughter, the giant scooped Jack up in his massive hand, carrying him into the castle with a gentleness that belied his fearsome appearance. Inside the castle, Jack found himself in a world of wonders, a treasure trove of riches beyond imagining, collected from every corner of the sky. But amidst the glittering gold and sparkling jewels, Jack sensed a sadness that hung heavy in the air, a loneliness that no amount of wealth could dispel. Moved by compassion, Jack vowed to help the giant find freedom from his solitary prison, pledging to use the magic beans to create a beanstalk that would carry them back to the world below. And as they worked together, planting the beans and nurturing them with care, a bond formed between Jack and the giant, a bond forged in friendship and mutual respect. At last, on the night of the full moon, the beanstalk sprouted from the ground, its vines reaching high into the sky as Jack and the giant climbed ever higher, their hearts light with hope and anticipation. And as they emerged from the clouds and beheld the world below, Jack knew that his adventure had only just begun, for though he had found riches beyond imagining, it was the friendship of the giant and the magic of the beans that had truly enriched his life. And so, with a grateful heart and a spirit full of wonder, Jack bid farewell to the giant and began his descent back to the earth below, where new adventures and new mysteries awaited him at every turn. But no matter where his travels might take him, Jack would always cherish the memory of his magical bean adventure, a tale of courage, compassion, and the boundless power of friendship. As Jack descended from the realm above, his heart swelled with gratitude for the friendship he had forged with the giant. But little did he know, a new challenge awaited him upon his return to the village below. As he stepped foot on solid ground once more, Jack found himself greeted by a sight that filled him with dread, a fearsome army of knights, their armor glinting in the sunlight as they marched towards the village with weapons drawn and banners unfurled. What is the meaning of this? Jack cried out, his voice echoing across the fields as he approached the leader of the knights, a stern-faced man with eyes as cold as steel. "We have come to claim what is rightfully ours," the knight declared, his voice laced with arrogance. "The treasure of the sky belongs to us, and we will stop at nothing to seize it from the clutches of the giant." Jack's heart sank as he realized the true nature of the knight's intentions. They sought not only to plunder the riches of the sky, but to destroy the magic beans and imprison the giant once more. With a fierce determination burning in his heart, Jack confronted the knight, his voice ringing out with courage and defiance. "You shall not lay a hand on the giant or the treasures of the sky," Jack declared, his words echoing with the power of conviction. "I have seen the wonders that lie beyond the clouds, and I will not let you bring harm to those who dwell there." But the knight would not be swayed, and with a wave of his hand, he ordered his men to attack, their swords flashing in the sunlight as they charged towards Jack with reckless abandon. With no time to waste, Jack leaped into action, his mind racing as he sought a way to defend the village and protect his newfound friends. With a flick of his wrist, he summoned the power of the magic beans, weaving a barrier of vines and thorns that barred the knight's path and shielded the village from harm. But the knights were relentless, their numbers too great for Jack to hold back alone. With each passing moment, they drew closer to their goal, their swords inching ever closer to the heart of the village. Desperate for a way to turn the tide of battle, Jack called upon the giant for aid, his voice carrying across the fields in a plea for help. And to his relief, the giant heard his call, emerging from the clouds with a roar of defiance that shook the earth beneath their feet. With one mighty stride, the giant descended upon the knights, his fists raining down like thunderbolts as he sent them scattering like leaves in the wind. And as the battle raged on, Jack fought at his side, his blade flashing in the sunlight as he defended the village with all the strength and courage he could muster. But despite their best efforts, the knights proved to be a formidable foe, their numbers overwhelming Jack and the giant at every turn. And as the sun began to set on the horizon, it became clear that victory was slipping from their grasp. With a heavy heart, Jack realized that he could not hope to defeat the knights alone. But even in the face of defeat, he refused to surrender to despair, drawing strength from the knowledge that he fought not for himself, but for the safety and well-being of those he held dear. And so, with one final burst of determination, Jack rallied his allies for a last stand against the knights, their spirits unyielding in the face of adversity. With swords raised and hearts aflame, they charged into battle once more, their cries of defiance echoing across the fields as they clashed with their foes in a final showdown for the fate of the village. But as the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded away, it became clear that victory had come at a great cost. The village lay in ruins, its streets strewn with rubble and debris, while the knights lay defeated amidst the wreckage of their failed assault. And amidst the chaos and destruction, Jack found himself face to face with the leader of the knights, a man whose eyes burned with hatred and resentment as he glared at Jack with undisguised malice. "You may have won this battle, boy," the knight spat, his voice dripping with venom. "But mark my words, you have not seen the last of us. We will return, and when we do, there will be no mercy for you or your giant friend." With a defiant glare, Jack met the knight's gaze, his eyes ablaze with determination. "We will be ready," he vowed, his voice firm and unwavering. "And we will stand against you with all the strength and courage we possess." And with that, the knight turned and fled, his army in tow as they retreated into the shadows, leaving Jack and the giant to survey the aftermath of the battle they had fought so valiantly. Though the village lay in ruins and their enemies still lurked in the shadows, Jack knew that their victory had not been in vain. For in the face of adversity, he had discovered the true meaning of courage and friendship, and in the bonds they had forged, he found strength that would carry them through even the darkest of days. And so, with hearts full of hope and determination, Jack and the giant set to work rebuilding their shattered home, their spirits unyielding in the face of whatever trials and tribulations lay ahead. For though their journey had been fraught with danger and hardship, they knew that as long as they stood together, there was nothing they could not overcome. And with that knowledge burning bright in their hearts, they set out to face the challenges of tomorrow, their spirits soaring on the wings of victory and the promise of a brighter future ahead. Thanks for watching and listening.